Hey, weirdos.
Hey, weirdos.
Well, this isn't your average history lesson. We're telling stories that you definitely didn't learn in school.
Tales of ghosts, monsters, strange and unique happenings that defy explanation.
If you're ready to look past the surface and into the shadows, you've come to the right place. Let's get weird.
Let's get weird. Let's go.
Weird, weird, and weird. All right, so tonight we're going to be talking about the Joplin Spooklight,
Been there, done that.
aka the Hornet Spooklight, aka the Hollow Spooklight, aka yeah. So Joplin Spooklight. It's an atmospheric ghost light on the border between southwest Missouri and northeastern Oklahoma. A few miles west of a small town called Hornet, Missouri. And when I Googled it, I couldn't find a specific map. I just found kind of a general area. So I think it's one of those little towns that's just kind of gone, because you see Joplin and then you see Seneca. It's also called the Seneca Spooklight, I believe. And they're all just kind of right in that little area.
And it's a road that this thing comes out on.
Yep, it's like right at the end of the road. I've got a couple of pictures. I've got one from daytime. There's the horn. Yeah, okay, so that's
it exactly. So now, when I was there, though, that's an old picture.
Yep.
Because now it's the road is not tree lined like that. When I was there, it was pastures and a few houses. But I think it's been a few years since I've been down there. And now what I'm hearing is there's more houses, and now they will not let you park on that road at night and watch for it.
Sure.
So that's a considerably older photo, but anyhow, sorry, go ahead.
Well, all of the ones that that I found that showed the light in any kind of good detail were older photos. I think there's one where it was paved, and that's one of the daytime photos. You can see the other road come down there. But it's an east to west stretch of Route 66 south of Quapaw, Oklahoma. It's in alignment with a farm road called E50, known colloquially. That's a hard word. That's like you and your elusive and exclusive.
Yeah. Exclusive. It's an exclusive cryptid.
Exclusive cryptid. I know. It's like, he is kind of exclusive. It's locally it's called Spooklight Road. Due to this alignment, headlights of cars driving east on Route 66 are unexpectedly visible in the distance from higher elevation points. The first to recognize this was A.B. McDonald in January 1936. But it's also been demonstrated that, it's not headlights.
It's not.
It's not, because the highway is down there, but it's not headlights. It's not fireworks. It's not spotlights.
It's not swamp gas.
It's not swamp. Well, that was, something else I was, going to bring up was, the will-o'-the-wisps and how those are atmospheric gases, or wandering spirits of the dead, depending on who you talk to. But it's just this phenomenon of this light. And Marianne, you said I've never been out there. Nobody ever wanted to go out there with me because it's too far away.
I've been out there.
So
4 times. I think 4 times over the years. Wow. I had a friend that had family over there. And so we would, take off at 11 o'clock at night and head, an hour and a half from home.
Just that light just down there in the
and it is. So that road that it's on is just exactly like that. It's not flat. There are some hills in it.
Doesn't it like disappear as you get closer to it?
So where you see the taller hill back there is where it comes up. And it comes up, you can be sitting there And sometimes you have to sit there for a few minutes before it'll pop up. And it'll pop up in the center of the road. And it looks like this little bitty tiny light. And then it expands to bigger. And when we've been there, so what it would do is dance back and forth across the road. It looks like it comes towards you. It goes back. It has split into two and went
Yeah, I didn't. I found a couple, but I thought it was glare. But I was later reading that it splits into two.
Yeah.
And there were some that
And
were two.
the thing about it, so my friend that I was with, that her family was over there, she said, after we'd sat there and watched it for a while, she's like, okay, now I'm going to show you something. And I said, okay. So we start driving toward it. I'm like, is this really a good idea? And she's like, yeah. And it would never let you get close to it, right? It just disappears.
Like
It's
it
gone.
would.
So when you get to where the top of that hill is back there,
Yeah.
you crest that hill and you immediately start to go down and you
Like-
make this corner and you cross a bridge, right?
Yeah.
And her point being was that there's nothing back there for it to be. There's no reflection back there. There's nothing because there's nothing back there. There's how they could say it was lights from the highway. Well, the lights are not always going to be at the same height. They're not going to come across the same way. They're not going to stay there for an extended period of time.
Right.
All the kind of things, right? But the really weird thing, the night that we were out there, we'd seen it. We'd messed around there for quite a while. She drives back there, and as we're crossing this creek, I look down. I can see an Indian on a horse in the creek that night. I said, there's an Indian in the creek. And she just kind of grinned at me, and she said, yeah, of course there is. Okay. But so we were over in that area too, where we would see Civil War soldiers walking along the side of the road. It was weird. Okay. It's just a weird area.
Okay.
But yeah.
That would make sense. That would make sense. And the whole car thing can be debunked because these spooklight stories existed before cars existed.
Right.
But of course you can't really verify any of the claims. They're just
and I think
my beloved folk tales are, they are handed down by your grannies and your grandpas.
Right, exactly. And I think what I heard one time was they talked about I don't remember if it was a railroad, because I cannot remember if there's a railroad close to that or not. If it was like a railroad conductor with the line.
Right. I'd heard that story that it was either a rail or it was a bridge guy.
Yeah, something.
Somebody's, yeah.
Yeah, and then of course, your typical portal. It's a portal that things come and go. I mean, it's a light in a road in the middle of nowhere.
Right. Let's see. What else did I find? Well, I did, I looked up, Spooklight and got the usual, that we've just been talking about. And then apparently there was the Spooklight Museum, started in the 1960s, that somebody from Popular Mechanics called a tourist trap that doesn't quite make it. It had a 3-inch telescope that allowed people to view the light for 25 cents. But the owners had it set up indoors to look through a 1/2-inch hole in the wall, which stopped down the aperture so much it couldn't resolve anything.
Okay, that's
According
good.
to the proprietor, it was done to protect it from the rain. It was just not, it's not a deal.
That's why it was a tourist trap. Okay. Yeah.
Right. I did peruse through my folklore books back here, and I found a couple of fun little tales. Here I blah blah. So there's one. Apparently, there are a lot of spook lights all over Missouri.
Really? Okay.
There's one in the boot heel, down in the boot heel of Missouri, in the small town of Senath. There is a ghost light. It's off of County Road A, And a certain point you drive a certain distance down a gravel road and you cross a couple of bridges. It's very, descriptive. There's a
Right.
gnarled old tree with a lot of character as
It has a squirrel that points you in the right direction.
right? Yep. Cheshire cat, smoking a hookah. Yeah,
Yep.
it's over
There
there.
we go.
Um, we knew the tree the minute we saw it in the dusk light. It was a tree you might see in a horror film. You take another left and go down another bridge and park on the bridge. The hollow sounds echoing up from the old wooden bridge, making a pretty place pretty scary just to begin with. Real or imagined, the creaks and the groans of the wooden bridge heightened our awareness as we waited for the light. Then, when we saw the lights far ahead of us, there were all the usual explanations: swamp gas, light at some distant airport, but these lights didn't look anything like that. They drifted slowly towards us, fairly high up, yellow white in color, moving above above the road in the fields. 5 of us sat and watched them as they come closer and closer. Then the bridge noises and the slow approach of the lights combined to give us all the excitement we'd been looking for that night. We left in reverse, quickly. Now,
Yeah.
doesn't that sound like a light that you saw on one of your Bigfoot expeditions? Wasn't it kind of a yellowy light that kind of danced to and fro and kind of went up
Yeah.
and back?
Yeah. We've seen the orbs before. There was one in Kentucky that came down the trail at us, and we actually thought it was somebody's headlamp, the way it bobbed up and down, like somebody
Okay.
walking, you know. So yeah, we've seen that. And then of course, we were just talking to Joe and Jim earlier about, back in the spring
Sure.
having the UAP, and that's essentially a light that was, now this light was above the tree line. The spook light does not normally go that high. It stays relatively close to the ground
The
and
ground.
moves back and forth. Now, it's like I said, I was talking about my friend who used to have family over there. They were from that area, and we would go back periodically. And she said there was a night when her, and I think it was her sister, which did good to get her sister to go do that kind of stuff. That was not her thing, right? We've drug her out looking for ghost lights, spook lights, whatever you want to call them.
Sure.
And she loses her mind. She would squeal and scream and carry on. And we were like, okay, that's enough. We can't take her. She's
No,
no, no.
you get us all killed. Shut up.
Oh my gosh, right? Well, it might have not helped that we were driving down these dark back roads in a convertible, which
Well, that does lend to the creep factor of it.
we thought
Being,
it was
like,
great, but
exposed.
she didn't think so much. But anyway, so they were over there one night sitting, and my friend said that on that night, it came all the way up to the car. And she said when it got to the car, it was very small, right? And
Okay.
it danced on the hood of the car that night. Just bounce, 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 bounce back, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, doing just this little dance all over the hood of the car. And then poof, it travels back to where, she said that was the one and only time in the whole time she'd ever been over there that it ever did that.
Okay.
There are the rare occasions where it does not come out at all. Why? I don't know. I mean, we never could figure that one out, but it's a very active light that's moving, that never gets above the tree line, moves forward and backward, left to right, right to left,
Yeah.
changes in size, so I don't know. It'd be great if somebody could figure out what it is.
I know, and is it just I don't know. Well, I did find a couple of other little tales specifically about our spook light. In my book here, it calls it the Hornet light.
I've heard it called
Um,
that too. Yeah.
yeah. Um, in 1886, settlers about 11 miles southwest of Joplin, Missouri, began to see a ghostly light. It was blamed on the ghost of a Quapaw Indian, which it's interesting about the Indian at the water
Yeah.
in the river.
Yeah.
It was blamed on a ghost of a Quapaw Indian. The Quapaw agency was at Seneca, a few miles away, looking for his lost love, who had committed suicide rather than give in to her father's wish that marry a man of his choosing rather than that of her young brave. Which, you know, isn't that always the story? I mean,
Yeah.
even up here in Minnehaha Falls, Longfellow wrote the story of the Hiawatha and Minnehaha, and she leapt to her
Hmm.
death and blah, blah, blah. It's very sad and tragic.
Yep. Yep.
The light scared away some settlers so badly that they abandoned their farms and moved away. That's a little much,
That's a
maybe.
little dramatic. That's a little dramatic, you know.
Today, the light is called the Hornet Spooklight, named for the settlement a few miles away.
Yep.
Then another story, according to an old Cherokee man who ran a store outside of Seneca, where highways 71 and 66 cross. You know, are you familiar? I can see it.
You know, exactly. Yeah.
This gentleman told me that when the road was cutting through the area, the construction disturbed an Indian burial ground near Hornet. These spook lights you see started being seen about the time the graves were disturbed. The lights are the spirits of those disturbed burials, wandering in search of their scattered parts. I mean,
That's interesting. I mean, yeah, I've heard it's something native related.
right?
Like I said, the train conductor, bridge. I mean, people have to give it something because it doesn't fit in a box.
It
So
doesn't, right? They can't explain it. It's got to be something spectacular.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, it is similar to things we've seen, out in the woods, and who knows at this there. I have got something flying in my face. Good grief. Some kind of bug. I'm gonna start doing the hand signals, the hand jive here, right?
Here's another one about the light dancing over their car.
See?
Dancing behind the car. It was beautiful. It was glowing white with blue fringes. It came toward the trunk, and when it got to the car, it split in two and slowly passed us on either side of the car, going about as high up as the windows. It made no sound at all.
Yeah.
When it reached the hood, it rejoined and went on down the road.
Yeah.
And this is in reference again to the Hornet or to the Joplin Spooklight.
And the funny thing about it makes me remember, as you tell these stories, I remember the times, because like I said, we were there at least 4 times. And one time, said sister who did not like that. Yeah. It was funny though. She wanted to be with us, but she didn't want to do what we were doing because we were always doing something weird, right? And we're grown women when we're doing this. We're not teenagers, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And we're out there, like I said, at this point, it was still a very rural area. It was fields and farmhouses, right? And we're parked alongside the road, and we're just watching, right? Hanging out, no big deal. We're outside the vehicles, and there was this snort. I've never seen a grown woman get in a vehicle. I think she dove through the open window, to tell you the truth.
God. Like Scooby, just jump it right through the window.
Right. And she was a tall woman. She was she was not petite. She wasn't fat by any means, but she was just a sturdy woman. And I mean, launched herself through the window.
Because of
She's
a snort?
Of a snort. It came from the field behind her, right?
Should have been a cow.
It was a horse.
Or horse. Or
yeah, it was a horse. But was a big scaredy cat. So anything and everything.
Anything in the dark and it comes from behind you, I could see how she'd jump.
Oh yeah. She was in the car squealing, let's go. And we're like, no, it was a horse. Get out here. She's like, no. She sat in the car. Yeah. Yeah, she didn't find us as funny as we found ourselves, but
Well, does anyone ever? I mean, I think I'm freaking hilarious, but sometimes nobody thinks I'm as funny as I think I am.
Oh, I know. Some days I'm like, that's funny,
That's you, man.
right? It's funny, right? Come on, that's funny stuff.
Like my joke today. I can't believe you didn't get my joke.
I didn't get it, but you're doing movie quotes. I'm not the movie quote person. You know
It's
that.
not a movie quote. I made it up myself. No, I actually heard it online.
Okay, well, I'm still not the quote person.
Yeah,
Robert's
good.
always quoting movies or something. Him and Billy do that all the time, and I'm like,
Yeah, I do that. But a slice of pie in Jamaica is $2.50, and a slice of pie in the Bahamas is $3. These are the pie rates of the Caribbean. That's
yeah,
hilarious.
I'm looking at that going,
All I
has she
get
not
was
had enough coffee?
I'm like,
What has
girl,
she
I
been
just
smoking?
want it.
What's wrong with her this morning?
Is she okay? Did she have a stroke in her sleep?
Has she had a stroke? Do I need to call her son?
Oh my God.
Then I'm like, have I not had enough coffee to understand what she's texting me?
I mean, there was zero context. I did just
But
throw
I
it
have
right
to know.
out
I do
there.
that stuff to you too. Just
That's
throw
fair.
stuff out there. So,
All right. So here is, let's see, is there one last little one here? Yes. Another tale from someone when I was in high school. A bunch of my buddies and I decided one night, girls and guys, to go up to Hornet and see the spook light. One of us knew the way from up in the corner of Oklahoma. Great. We saw the spook light do something it hardly ever does. Just sit absolutely still. It was yellow, shaded towards orange. It was about the size of a basketball, and it was sitting in an open field about 3 feet off the ground.
huh.
Very quietly, from about 200 feet, we encircled the light all the way around it. Some fools will tell you that what causes the spook light are the headlights from the Will Rogers Turnpike. But when I was in high school, the turnpike hadn't been built yet.
Yeah,
The light
that's
is
right.
seen in the hollows between the hills. There's not any way that any intelligence, there's not, wait, there's not any way that the intelligence this light displays in its movement could come from headlights.
Yeah, it's something. It's not headlights. It's not.
Very
Yeah.
quickly speaking to each other, we all took one step forward, then another. The light was just hanging there, 3 feet off the ground. We all took another step. When we got about 50 feet from it, it winked out. The light immediately appeared 100 yards away, off down one side, hanging in midair. At one point, a lot of us had run out of courage, so we left quickly.
Well, it's funny. So I know a gentleman who has property over into Oklahoma, not far from where we're talking about, but it's in Oklahoma, right? He has a light that appears on his property.
Okay.
But he has now figured out it only shows up at a specific time in October.
Okay. Now, couldn't that be a case of, maybe atmospheric gases?
Well,
since it's
apparently the area that it shows up in, there was a great massacre in.
Oh.
About that time of the year.
Okay. All right. That's fair. Okay.
Yeah. He's tracked it and done research on it, and it only shows up at a certain time in October every year. Because when they first noticed it, they thought it was a poacher, right? So him and his buddy, are out there trying to sneak up on him. Okay, you got two natives that hunt that are trying to sneak up on you. You're in trouble.
Right.
You're in trouble. Right? Yeah.
Right.
They couldn't sneak up on it. They couldn't find it, right? So then they started to watch and got, figured out it was only showing up at a certain time. So he started doing some research, and there was a very big battle, massacre type thing on that land. So, it makes you go, oh. So like you were talking with the Native American story about, the suicide or something. It could be that. It could have been that there was a big battle there.
Right.
That,
Or graves disturbed.
yeah, exactly.
We've heard
Exactly.
that a lot as well.
Yeah.
But I think it's fascinating. Ever since I was younger, like I said, nobody ever wanted to go because it was too far away.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, we would have to sneak over there and do it incognito to be able to,
right?
because like you said, if you
My
park
weird
there, they
bucket
will
list.
run you off now. So
My weird bucket list.
yeah, exactly. But we'll have to
But
try
you know
it.
what?
So
That is about all the weirdness that I've got for this week.
all
Um,
right.
Thanks so much for joining us on this journey into another weird heart of Missouri.
If you were enthralled by this episode, take a moment to like and share, subscribe. It helps us keep our boots on the ground and the boogers at bay.
And if you've got a weird story that you would like us to research, or just a tale, we want to hear it. You can find our link in the email in the show's description. And until next time, stay weird.
Stay weird.